I said, before you talk about Strikeforce, let's talk about Bellator 75.
Oh, I was going to talk about after the news because we usually end our show with Bellator.
Yeah, and I'm trying to break that trend. I think we need to move Bellator up on the card a little bit.
All right. Well, where do you want to start in Bellator?
How about the epic kick of doom in the Thiago Santos and Eric Prindle fight?
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, man.
Always a kick to the nuts.
I wasn't sure if I was watching UFC or Bellator or the NFL. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was a clusterfuck, literally. So, what are you going to do? Thiago Santos picks up the win due to the illegal shot and moves on in the tournament. But I think the real story of the tournament is not even the nut shot. I think it's Brett Rogers just absolutely getting his ass whipped by Alexander Volkov. I mean, I really can't do justice to just how much Brett Rogers got outclassed in this fight. And I think it's a damn shame because I like Brett Rogers. I've been to some of his fights. He's got a lot of heart. And this is a guy who's had to overcome some adversity, some troubles of late, just like other fighters who've had problems we've been talking about, like Mayhem Miller, like Dennis Hallman. You know, there's stuff going on in his life, and I figured fighting was his way to overcome it. But he lost 30-25 on all three judges' scorecards, so that pretty much tells you what a one-sided ass beating this fight was.
Yeah, it's it's one of those fights where, like, I like Brett Rogers, I really do, and I was hoping he'd do more in that Strikeforce tournament, and then the whole thing with the domestic violence charge, his fall from grace, so to speak, and now he's trying to make a name back in Bellator, and this is not the way you want to debut.
No. The only two guys that actually looked impressive in this heavyweight tournament were Richard Hale, who knocked out Mike Wessel in the first round, TKO, with unanswered strikes, and the ref stopped the fight. And Vinicius Quiroz defeated Mark Halata by armbar, also in the first round. So those two guys are probably your favorites, although it's hard to say whether Thiago Santos would be a favorite or not. I mean, he might have gone on to win that fight with Eric Prindle, but once you take an axe kick to the nuts, and I mean, this was like Booker T doing an axe kick. This was just stomp on the nuts. I just, if you didn't see it on Bellator 75, I just can't do it justice. I mean, this guy was, if you could be unconscious from a kick to the nuts, he was, because he was on his face down, in pain, like this guy was going nowhere.